Hey, before the video starts, I just wanted to let everyone know I'm having a New Year commission sale. It lasts till the end of this month, so get one while you can. They're all really cheap right now. Hello everyone and Happy New Year! We're starting off 2023 with a bang! I have a total of 8 OCs I'm going to be redesigning today. One of them is my own character. All of them from My Little Pony, and they all have one thing in common. They all have the name Rainbow Splash. Now, I'm sure a lot of you in the My Little Pony fandom know that the name Rainbow Splash is a very popular name to use for My Little Pony OCs. I have a folder on DeviantArt called The Cult of Rainbow Splash, and aside from 2 characters in that folder that has 55 deviations in it, they are all My Little Pony OCs named Rainbow Splash, and I find more every time I search Rainbow Splash MLP or anything along those lines. It's a very popular name, and originally I was just going to do a huge picture of all the Rainbow Splash OCs I could find, but I decided that was boring. I might still do it one day. I could make it a little more interesting and draw them as if they were characters in my series, Super Special High, but I don't know. I'm still debating it. I might do a part 2 to this video, because there's more I could do redesigns of. Not all of the designs I've found I could do a redesign of simply because there's nothing to really improve upon or anything you could possibly change about them. I do these redesigns videos as a form of criticism and to kind of bring life back to characters that have been abandoned, and for fun, because redesigning things is fun to me. So if there's nothing that needs improving, then there's no point in trying. Anyways, let's get this video started. The first character is Rainbow Splash by the Rainbow Splash Pony. The original design for the character is okay. The rainbow horn looks a little goofy, but that's just because of the way it's colored compared to the tail, which is also rainbow colored. But other than that, there's nothing really wrong with it other than the fact that she's supposed to be the child of King Sombra and Princess Luna. I don't know about you guys, but I don't get that vibe from the original character's design. If I had to take a guess, my first thought would probably be Rainbow Dash and a pink dragon or something. Redesigning her was a bit difficult, but not awful. My biggest issue was coloring her hair. My goal was to try and make her look more like Luna and Sombra's child, which I kind of succeeded in. She definitely looks more like Luna, which is fine. Some kids take more after one parent than the other. To keep the character's bat-like wings, I gave the redesign the Nightmare Moon style wings. I gave the character armored shoes, a cravat, and 3 star-shaped earrings to show that she's royalty and dresses up at least a little like Luna and Sombra do. That was the intention anyways. I tried to reference King Sombra's hair for the redesign, how it's kind of wavy with some curls and some stray spiked hair pieces. I kept the hair about as long as the originals. The tail hair is shorter, but only because making it longer would have looked kind of goofy. I also gave her a tiny little bubble braid just to add a bit more flair to her design. As if there wasn't already a lot of flair to her design. She's a fancy little thing. Her colors were fairly easy. I made her coat a dark blue with a lot of lighter and darker markings. The tips of her wings are dark blue spots under her eyes, and the tip of her horn is a dark blue and kind of spotty, like how Sombra's horn is colored. Her ear, muzzle, underbelly, hooves, and tail are lighter blue, the tail having 2 different shades of light blue acting as like a transition color. Again, that was the idea anyways. Don't know how well I succeeded. Her hair was a bit of a pain in the ass to color. I knew what colors I wanted to use to keep the rainbows in her design, but also have it make sense. I decided to color her hair like the Aurora Borealis, so I googled Aurora Borealis color palettes and picked 2 for reference. Only ended up using 1 for her hair though. The main issue was the pattern I wanted to use. I tried 2 different patterns before settling on this drippy pattern that I love using. Her eyes, I made a light green color, and her accessories are a dark silver color. Her cravat is just black. She looks pretty different from the original design, but at least she actually looks at least like Luna's kid now. The next character is Rainbow Splash by Sora Strives. I actually really like the original design for the character. There's nothing super crazy or off about it at all. She has a nice color palette. Love the way her hair looks, to me, like seaweed. Overall, really cute pony design. The reason I chose this character out of the 53 I have saved is because they originally used a base for the mer pony design, so it's pretty basic, and I wanted to spice it up a little bit. So for her redesign, I gave her a nicer looking tail and fins instead of the really basic purple that the base had. I also made her hooves finned at the end. Does that make sense? I referenced the MLP movie Sea Pony designs, and I noticed the ends of their hooves had fins, so I decided to do that, and that was really all I changed of her physical traits. There wasn't really a whole lot to change, because as I said, the original character's design was fine, just a bit bland because it was a base. Not that there's anything wrong with using bases. It's just with bases a lot of the time, the characters just lack that personal touch, if you get what I'm saying. Especially if you don't have the skills to draw over the base to change certain aspects of it, like the fins on this Merpony base. All of her colors are the same. Purple body, green and blue striped hair, yellow eyes, but I got a fun idea to add more rainbows in her design. So I made the underside of her hair rainbow colored. Not only did I do that, but I decided to torture myself a little bit and give the rainbow part of her hair and tail this scaled pattern, which I based off a picture of a hippocampus I found on Google. Why did I do this? Because I wanted to see what it would look like and if it would look cool. And it does. So I'm happy with it, but it doesn't change the fact that drawing out that pattern by hand sucked. Oh, I also used this preset brush in the art program I use to give her this normal scaled pattern on her body just because I wanted to add scales. No other reason. I think this turned out really nice, but I'm probably never going to draw that pattern in her hair ever again, because that was awful, especially with carpal tunnel. Oh my god. The next character is Rainbow Splash by Maeru. I'm not saying that username right, and I apologize. According to the description, the design I redesigned is also a redesign of a character named Rainbow Splash, but I could not find the original, mainly because it wasn't linked and there wasn't another Rainbow Splash character on her account. So I'm redesigning a redesign. Redesignception. The design isn't bad, she's just boring. White coat, blue and purple hair, rainbow socks. It's fine, it's just not an exciting design. Redesigning her wasn't a horrible challenge. From the original, I got the impression she was supposed to be relatively fancy, like Rarity. Maybe that's because a Rarity base was used, but still. So I gave my redesign a long unicorn tail and changed her hair to be a bit more stylized. It's now kind of messy in a high ponytail. I won't lie, I just stole a hairstyle from Gotcha Life because I was at a loss for what to do with the hair. I won't apologize for my decision. I gave the character a sweater, skirt, and some tall shoes. Nothing crazy. Honestly, it's been a while between me drawing the character and writing this script, so I forgot what my initial idea was that led me to giving her these things for the redesign. I just remember fancy like Rarity. Her colors didn't really change at all. I just added some colors and moved the rainbow to the sweater. Figuring out how to color the sweater sucked, but I kind of figured it out. It doesn't look the best, but oh well. Her skirt is just black, and I did have a bit of trouble coloring her shoes as well. I did try to also give her rainbow socks, but it just looked goofy, so I scrapped that idea. Overall, pretty simple, nothing too crazy. I'm not super happy with how she came out. I think it's because there was so much space in between my initial idea and actually drawing the character that the original idea I had was lost in the void that is my brain. So I really did just end up mishmashing things together in an attempt to make it work, but it just ended up looking a bit goofy. Oh well, you win some, you lose some. Next character is Rainbow Splash by Zombie Girl ML97. Okay, her design is also really simple, really plain. There's nothing wrong with it. She's a black Pegasus pony with purple eyes, and for some reason rainbow splatters on her tail. I assume she uses her tail to paint, or maybe she creates rainbows when flying. That would be neat. There's nothing wrong with basic character designs. Look at Pinkie Pie. I just personally feel like that makes them kind of boring, and nobody likes boring character designs. At first, I was at a complete loss for what to do for this character's redesign, and I almost just deleted the file and picked a different character. But then I got the best idea. My favorite pony species is the Umbrums. They're in the comics, and they're spooky zombie horses, basically. I love them. And my roommate has been playing a lot of Slime Rancher, and the tar slime have rainbow-colored swirls on them. So I got the brilliant idea to mash those two to make a character, and she turned out awesome. Drawing the Umbrum body was the hardest part because they are just the most scrunkly of creatures. They're very thin and bony and have all these swirls on them. A pain in the ass to draw, so I just heavily referenced the picture of Rabia, who is the leader of the Umbrums, because finding good references for Umbrums is a pain because they're from the comics, and the art style for those comics is a bit hard to reference, especially the Umbrums. God, their designs are so weird, but so cool. Anyways, Umbrums have these swirl patterns on their body and hair, and after I colored her body and hair, which are both still just gray and black, I made the swirls on the body rainbow colored to look like the tar slimes. I honestly think she turned out really cool, and I might keep the rainbow tar Umbrum design. No idea what I'll do with her, but I want her, because she's pretty. This is probably my third favorite design I've done out of this group. She just looks so cool. The next character is Rainbow Splash by Cha87680G. Man, that's a username. The original character design, she's just a white alicorn with rainbow hair. Nothing really to say about it. I wish the hair was outlined, but it's fine. Looking at this design, I'm honestly reminded of a ghost. The white body, the red eyes, the way the hair was drawn, just screamed ghost to me. Which is where I got the idea for her redesign. My Little Pony canonically has wind spirits, as I'm sure everyone is aware of, and I figured that was the perfect thing to base my redesign off of. Specifically, this reformed Windy Boy design I found. No idea if it's canon. I didn't look that much into it, but it's what I used. I tried at first to stay true to the wind spirit designs by making it look more horse-like, but honestly, drawing their faces is hard, so I ended up just doing the typical pony face. Her hair I just heavily referenced the reformed Windy Boy I found because drawing hair with that specific style, that really wild, wavy style, is just really hard for me to draw. Every time I tried to do it without referencing the image, it just looked dumb. Her colors didn't really change other than I made the body more of an off-white. It's got a blue undertone instead of just being pure white. I was going to have the body and hair completely rainbow colored, not have really any white at all, but quickly changed that because it looked goofy. So her mane, tail, and tufts of fur on her legs are all this pastel rainbow color, and I think she turned out looking pretty cool. Oh, this is also the only design I've done whose outline isn't black. I changed it to a dark gray blue color because I thought it looked nicer. Maybe I'll go back to all my other designs and recolor the outlines for them as well so they all match. And there's not just one design with a non-black outline. The next character is Rainbow Splash by Lemon Dream Studios. Okay, as far as I understand, this character was made as a joke and is based off this MLP toy, Princess Gold Lily. I could be wrong, but that's the context I've gotten from the description of the picture I found. But honestly, I don't hate the design of the original. The orange shoes are a little weird, but honestly, if the edit wasn't a joke, really messy, just not very high quality, I don't think this character would be that bad. Her redesign was pretty easy to come up with. First, I gave her hair proper shape and not the weird shape it was in the original, and made it significantly longer than the originals. And I edited the gown to be long-sleeved with a belt around the middle and metal cuffs at the end of the sleeves. My idea was kind of pure maiden goddess type character, like she's supposed to be a symbol of purity and power. A pretty basic idea, but the white dress on the original is what gave me the idea, so that's what I went with. Her colors I did end up changing a lot. When looking at the original character and reading the username, my brain went to lemon sherbet. Sherbet? My brain went to lemon sherbet ice cream, which led me to thinking about the normal sherbet ice cream. So I made her hair color sherbet, rainbow sherbet to be exact. Her body is still yellow, and to replace the orange shoes, I made the cuffs and belt a bronze color. Her eyes are still purple, and overall her colors are significantly lighter than the originals. I did have them as pastels at first, but went back and made them a bit brighter, just because I could. Overall, she looks cute as hell, and the urge to keep the redesign is strong. I like making pretty rainbow alicorns, okay? Leave me alone. The next character is Rainbow Splash by Lala Lover Forever. I'm not going to lie, I added this particular Rainbow Splash because of the clickbait. I knew having her in the thumbnail would draw a lot of attention. She was a pretty popular talking point in the MLP OC community for a very long time, and I know this. So I figured use this character to amp up views, and I wasn't just going to use her in the thumbnail and not include the character in the video. That's just rude. Anyways, aside from the clickbait aspect of this character, I honestly have never really liked this character design. Something about it always made my one brain cell scream in rage, and I never really understood why until now. Most of her colors are just the MS Paint default colors, aside from the purple. And that's not to say those default colors can't make a good palette. You just have to know how to apply those colors to a character design, and I just don't think it looks very nice on this particular character. That's of course personal opinion, but that is generally what these videos are, my personal opinion. Okay, for the redesign. My goal for this redesign wasn't to completely change the design. It was more give it a small update like what I did with Sora Stripes. Cause there's nothing wrong with the physical design, I just personally do not like the colors. The most I did was add a lot of feathers. So many feathers. Because it's officially my favorite trait to give Pegasus and Alicorn OCs. The feathers are just so aesthetically pleasing. Her hair also doesn't have as much volume as the original, but that's more of a stylistic choice on my part, rather than changing it because I didn't like the volume of the hair. Okay, now for the colors. You won't see me messing around with the colors on the character the first time, except for the end result for a brief second, because I was struggling. I tried keeping the colors basically the same with some added details and trying to move the colors in the hair around a little bit, but none of it looked nice, so I stopped trying, took a break, and did a bit more prepping before trying again. I decided to base her body colors off of a bird, the Himalayan white-browed rosefinch, which is a pink and brown bird. And after finding a suitable pink and brown color palette and some random rainbow color palettes, I set back to work, and it turned out so much better than what I was doing at first. I darkened the main color of her coat just a little bit so I could add a lighter pink underbelly, freckles, and a bit of lighter pink on her horn. For the 3 brown colors from the palette I found, I used them on her back, neck, hooves, and ears. The middle brown is the main spot on her back. I used the darker brown to add spots and some darker tips on the feathers of her tail and wings, and the lightest brown on the front of her ear. Her hooves start off as the lightest brown, and then I gave her hooves socks. I think that's what they're referred to on horses. Started with the darkest brown and then the medium brown. Her hair colors are all in the same place as they were in the original. I just changed the shade of each color to match the palette better. Her eyes are the exact same color as the original, and I changed the hair ties from red and orange to gold. Then I moved on to coloring the tips of the wings. I was debating on whether or not I wanted to do a fade like the original, like how the colors on the wingtips fade out, or if I wanted to do something else. And I decided to do something else. I used this splatter brush to color the wingtips, and after I fixed my dumbass mistake of coloring the wingtips on the line art layer, it turned out looking so good. Overall, I'm really proud with how this turned out. It still looks like the same character. She just looks like she got a bit of an update to her design instead of a complete overhaul, which was my intentions. Now, I know she's not going to use this design, and that's fine. I don't expect anyone I redesign to ever use the designs I make. Mostly because a good chunk of the OCs I redesign haven't been touched by the original creator in literal years. But because of that, I'm just gonna yoink this whole color palette, cause man. And last, but definitely not least, Rainbow Splash by Werewolf Goddess 9000, aka me! Meet my Rainbow Splash OC. Because I can't really talk about the design like I have the others, I'm just going to tell you about the character. Her full name is Rainbow Kayleen Splash. She has an older sister, Princess Mythica Obsidia, and a younger brother, Pastel Rainbow, and 2 known cousins, Midnight Sunday and Amy Sparkle. I never made Rainbow's parents, but I did add that she's the great-great-great-great-granddaughter of the alicorn of Rainbow's Queen Polychrome Prism. I was focused on the important details, obviously. And her special talent is the ability to see and draw portals into other dimensions. I based her special talent off of Barbie's Rapunzel. If you've seen that movie, you're cool. The only other notable information is this bit. Prepare yourselves, because it's pretty bad. Boyfriend/girlfriend. Multiple. When Rainbow Splash jumps to another dimension, she completely forgets about her past life, and the dimension is rewritten to include Rainbow's existence. Because of this, she forgets her past lovers and falls in love with new people. When she finally regains her memories, how she regains her memories vary from dimension to dimension, and leaves the dimension she is currently in, she will remember everything, and if she goes back, her memories won't disappear like the first time, but her main love is Jeff the Killer. This was my main excuse to draw her in other series. Attack on Titan, Boku no Hero, Star vs. Fruits Basket, and so many more. I still have all of them saved, and I plan on also rewriting and redesigning all of those characters in another video. It'll be a fun time. Now, just to reassure everybody and be completely transparent, I did originally make this OC as a joke. I was just fucking around with colors and her information, which is why she is as ridiculous as she is, but I ended up growing super attached to her, which is why I still have her and use her for various things. Don't judge me too much, please. Okay, now for her redesign! I had an idea right off the bat, and that was to basically make her a shaman. I changed basically everything about her design. She's no longer an alicorn, she's just a unicorn. Her hairstyle changed drastically. Instead of the really long strip over her eye, she now has proper bangs and 2 longer strips of hair framing her face, and the back of her hair is now so much longer. I gave her a cloak, which I wanted to mimic wings, kind of like Shinobu from Demon Slayer. I got rid of the character's socks and replaced them with body markings instead. Because I was keeping all of the original colors, I was just going to be applying them in a different manner. Like I said, I kept all of her original colors except for the eye color. I scrapped the MS Paint rainbow eyes and I lightened her hair and body a little bit. Her eyes I changed to completely blue. The idea I had was she's completely blind. Her magic acts as her sight, basically. The colors in her hair were moved to the underside of her cloak, and I added a bunch of stars to give it this really spacey, mystical look. Again, that was the idea anyways. I have ideas, but I don't know how well I actually pull them off. And the colors from her socks I used to color her body markings. I had drawn her magic out before I started recording because I knew if I didn't, I was going to struggle with it. But her magic is pure white in color and it will shimmer different colors of the rainbow, which I tried to add as well, but it ended up making the magic color look muddy. But oh well, I could fix it when I make her new ref sheet. This was basically concept art anyhow. But overall, I do absolutely love her new design. She looks so freaking cool. I am super proud with this picture in particular. Alright, that's it for this video. I hope you enjoyed. This was pretty fun to do, and it would have been longer if I had the time to redesign more characters, but as of recording, I'm pretty determined to get this video out on the 2nd. But maybe I'll do a part 2, like I said earlier. Who knows? But now, I challenge all of you, yes, all of you, the ones watching this video, to make your own Rainbow Splash OC. Do it! I want to see the internet flooded with Rainbow Splash OCs. Join the Rainbow Splash cult! Do it! It's good for your health. Don't forget to like, comment, share, and subscribe if you are new. Check out all of my social medias linked down in the description below. Because if you don't, I'm gonna steal your toes!